I'm not a doctor. What?
But didn't you say you were a doctor?
Did I? Yeah. Look at their faces. Of course I'm a bloody doctor.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We're your hosts. I am Daniel Parra.
And I'm Erwin Trejo.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Erwin, we review everything that we can here. Both movies and TV shows. And everything we review will always have full spoilers in it. And with this one, we are going to be touching on some spoilers for the 2022 film. What are we reviewing?
Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil, but particularly the 2024 Blumhouse remake. Erwin, with this movie, I'm going to ask you your expectations in a second for it beforehand, but let's go ahead and ask you this. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
I loved it.
You loved this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was great. Yeah.
That's not one of the options, though. You said
okay,
love, hate,
I
or somewhere between.
I love this movie, but there were some things that I had some pretty significant problems within it. I'm looking at you, Scoot McNairy. But, not the performance, but the character himself.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? We'll
get into our positives and our negatives and everything, but let me go ahead and ask you, what were your expectations going into this?
I had, little to no expectations, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I just know I saw the trailer 30 times.
Yeah, I think that it was a staple. It was all over Twitter or X, not Twitter. People kept complaining about this trailer over and over. The amount of times I would see of course I'm a bloody doctor thing and people would make fun of it. It's going to be at the beginning of this video, but
But I didn't know it was a remake.
Yeah.
That was one thing you told me, I think it was a week or two beforehand.
We literally recorded me telling you that it was an original one.
And I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, of course I wanted to see the remake beforehand, but I didn't have the time to do so. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what, I'll just watch, I didn't have the chance to watch the original, but I was like, I'll just go ahead and watch the remake and then I'll watch the original afterwards.
Yeah.
But, I left this movie going wow, this is really good.
So here's what's cool. We get to come at this from the perspective of I did get to see this before I watched the new one. So we get to have two different perspectives on this movie. However, you do know the twist of the original one.
Yes, because when I was trying to find out the original, I guess somebody said, hey, well, here's the ending for the original. I was like, well, what the heck?
Here's my question, though. Did you read what that ending was before you'd seen this one?
No, I found out afterwards.
So you know that the twist is kind of the same then? Outside of the fact that, whenever they, not the tongue stuff, but the idea that they do this to multiple different families.
Yeah. Oh, that was the twist?
That's part of it in the original one, yeah.
Okay, no, now I'm confused on which the twist part was.
So since we're spoiling both, which one are you talking about?
The one thing I read was from the original where the main, the parents died.
Oh, that's the yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's not. I don't know if that's the twist or that's something that they changed.
It's something they changed.
Okay, that's what I meant then. Not the twist, but something they changed at the end.
Okay, yeah, that is. The entire concept of this movie is that, particularly the 2022 movie, is that this entire scenario, this entire situation asks you to put yourself in it. Okay. It's asking you to try and understand where people are coming from, and it's about the idea of not being able to say no to awkward social situations. And I want to ask you what you came away with feeling with this version of it. What did you get out of it? What did you think that this movie was about?
Oh, what this movie was about?
Yeah, the new one.
I guess it's just learning from, I guess what you just said, basically learning how to say no in those tough, difficult situations. I guess, at least for me, when I'm put in those awkward situations, I'm definitely... It's a lot easier for me to say no. Yeah. It's harder for me to say no to people that I like.
Because, with this type of situation, I kept thinking about like, oh, if I were to meet people on a like random place, like would I end up in this situation? No, you know why? Because I wouldn't go and talk to anybody I don't know.
Especially if you go to another country,
yeah,
meeting these random people. I don't know. It's just insane to think about. But I think it teaches you a lot of like your survival skills too. And literally like basically like learning how to like understand the loved ones that you have as well. Yeah. That you're with. So no, I think that there are so many things to take away from both versions of this, but I want to ask you if you feel I want to talk about the idea of remakes really quick. Okay. I want to ask you if you think that remakes should happen, or are you one of those people that feel like if something is an original set in stone idea, do you think that it's all right to remake something, or do you feel like you know that how sometimes people argue? Oh, I know what you mean. I think that remakes should never happen because the original is always going to be the better one. I'm going to ask you what you think of that before I say anything. Okay, I mean I disagree. I think if there's an original and then there's I think remakes, if it's possible to make something not even just better than what the original is, or something different or unique, or even if you wanted to make it the exact same way but just a different type of like outlook, then I say go for it. Especially if it's been such a long period of time. I know the original was 2 years.
2022. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Much, that's insane to think about. I thought it was like 16 years or 6 years.
So honestly, the other thing that I was kind of taken aback by is I think that people should learn how to read things with subtitles in foreign movies. I am wearing the Parasite shirt.
I am wearing the gray shirt.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the Liam Neeson movie, The Gray, I take it.
Gray. Is that the one where he fights like a wolf pack? I get it. You know what? I
like that movie. Yeah, but people
remember like that meme with the wolf.
You are one.
Stop.
I'm not allowed to tell anybody that. No. Oh man. Okay. You're like, quit your barking. So no, like
you mean howling?
No, when people talk, you're like you're barking or you're barking mad, like stuff like that. Well, I'm not British.
Shut up, eat your beans.
Oh, you don't have any right now.
No, not the black ones.
Yeah. So I thought that the original was going to be, I believe it's Danish. It's a Danish film.
Danish.
And like the director? No. But I thought it was going to be all in a different language. It's not. It's practically all in English. So I was like, what? So
it's not even a foreign...
It's foreign.
Okay, it's foreign, but like it's not...
But they're still speaking English the entire time. So I was kind of like, wait a minute. Okay, hang on. Because... Another thing I want to get into in a second, but I'm not done talking about this with you.
Well, no one's interrupting you, man.
Yeah, I mean, just me, myself, and I.
I have to say this. I was like, all right, well, no one's stopping you.
Thoughts, but I just don't understand why sometimes people are apprehensive of like, oh, I can't wait for this to be remade in America. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with just experiencing?
I agree with that.
The like foreign film, but you
can also have both.
You can have both, because I agree with you, and I'm going to tell you what the different outlooks are here in terms of the plot differences between Speak No Evil and Speak No Evil. But
yeah, you could at least change the title.
Yeah, I kept on thinking it was Hear No Evil, but like, I guess if they ever make a sequel, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
don't do that, please. I know Blumhouse has a tendency to do stupid shit like that. Don't do that. But
it's like they would probably do like a prequel.
That's what I was telling someone that. I was like, I think that if they were to do anything, it would be with one of the other families, but it would just be like, I mean, they just get away with it. Yeah. That's the original. That's the original movie. But I do think that remakes can surpass the original one. The Thing exists. There's also... What's that movie from like 2000? Not RoboCop. Dread. Dread. But that people will call that a reboot.
Oh, Godzilla.
Godzilla. The Roland Emmerich movie is definitely better than any of the other ones. That's for sure.
That movie still has an implant on me.
The Roland Emmerich. Yeah.
I see that movie too many times. Yeah. To forget about it.
No, I do remember. It basically is just kind of Jurassic Park in the third act. After a while. I'm not. It is like they take the babies or whatever and they run around.
Yeah, that's
New York. Isn't that the like end of the second one?
Lost World?
Yeah. And I think it's possible. I think it is possible to do...
Anything is possible!
Exactly. Anything is possible. With an American remake being... I don't know if I'd call this movie better. It's not. It's not better than the original one. However, it is different. I think that...
I haven't seen the original yet.
So, I'm going to ask you what you thought of the first 2 acts in particular here.
Oh, okay.
Because with me, I'll get this out of the way right now.
Oh, can we wait?
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The first 2 acts kind of follow the original beat for beat.
Oh.
And it wasn't driving me crazy. It was more one of those things where I was like, why did I just watch the original one? I was like, should I have waited? I was like, sure. Or should I just have been like knowledgeable and seen this movie way in advance? Because having that so fresh in my mind, a lot of it was like, okay, they're doing that part. They're doing that part. And I was like, it's all well made. It's all great. All the performances here so far before everybody gets elevated by their circumstances. I'm like, I know what they're doing, but there's a very clear distinction once the third act starts that is completely separated from what happens in the original one.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And so me having all of this prior knowledge, and we are going to get into trailers in a second.
Do you feel like it hinders like what you actually feel about the movie then?
I actually don't think so, but I do wish I would have gone into it like how you did.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm glad now we have 2 different perspectives here.
Okay.
Because now I can ask you, what did you think of the first 2/3 of this movie?
Well, even then, it's what sucks about the trailer. Because even with the trailer, like majority of how people or like other studios market trailers nowadays, they tend to make it feel like the trailer itself is like the whole movie, but condensed into like those like 2.5 minute trailers.
And it is driving me crazy.
Yeah. And so literally, don't get me wrong, like the first 2 acts, I'll say, I thought it was great. I thought it was really good, except for like maybe the beginning was just the pacing of it.
It is,
but I think it's just
slower.
It's slow, just because you're just getting used to the characters. Like, all right, when are they gonna meet the family? Right? Yeah. When are they gonna go up and like meet the other family? And that's when things start to pick up, because that's when you start to see like their tendencies and see how they really are later on down the road.
Yeah.
And so I would say like probably the first act is a little bit slow, just basically setting things up.
Yeah, because they are in Italy for the first portion of this.
Mm-hmm.
And
it wasn't until the second act when you started to notice like mostly I would say it's the family's performances, like James McAvoy's performance in particular, that does such a great job in just showing like those very small, like very little like subtle things that shows like how like what is going on with his family.
There's one particular shot. He does this thing a lot in this movie. And James McAvoy is, I'll say it, the best part of this movie pretty easily.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where I kept looking at his face. He has like an ever so slight twitch sometimes when this character like lets his face drop a little bit, and it's a really interesting acting choice because he does this thing with his mouth, I think, where like it'll twitch if he...
I like what he does with his eye right here. Like he does something right here where he just moves.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's something that they show in the trailer where he's like this, he kind of like is death staring the kid, but unfortunately
the kid does a good job too. And
Ant is great in this.
I was shocked because the daughter was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought she was just like a regular daughter type.
Yeah, it's one of those things that where like I can't say it's a negative. Here's a negative I had with the original one was the characters had next to no. I'm not going to say backbone. They had next to no ability to say no. And I understand that the entire premise of this movie is the people pleaser thing.
Yeah.
And that we're watching people that we are getting infuriated with. But in the original one, where I ran into an issue with that is also in this movie.
Yeah.
And I could tell that the writers of this were like, we're going to correct any issue we had with the first 2 acts of that original one. It felt like they were actively like proactively changing the things that they had a problem with.
Yeah.
And in the original one, the bunny is important. But the bunny's important in the sense that it's the reason why they go back around.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the original one, there's this, like, upside-down shot where they're, like, going to hell, basically. I'm like, I know, I get it. I'm like, horror movies do this a lot. I've seen Midsommar. I've seen Smile. I've seen that camera trick done.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's pretty effective every single time.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
Yeah, because whenever it turns upside down, you're like, just like their world. And you're like...
I think Coolsville sucks.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was saying. Okay, wait.
Scooby-Doo 2.
Sorry, I'm sick.
Yeah. Sick of what?
Sick of movies being good nowadays.
I know.
Movies are back.
Movies are back. We got to get another Borderlands and The Crow. And
Why?
Erwin loved both of those. He also loved Argyle.
What are you doing? Why do you bring those movies up?
And Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Bro, what?
But, no, moving on. The bunny in the original one.
Okay. It was a rabbit.
Rabbit, man. Whatever.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
If you want to explain the difference between a rabbit and a bunny to me, I've Googled it before even. I'd never know.
This is why you gotta Yahoo it.
No, I like Googling things. Who Yahoos anything anymore? No, not the chocolate milk. Yeah. But they turn back around.
Okay.
And they have to have that entire conversation with James McAvoy or with a different character. Same guy, same type of character in the original one. And then I remember something that pissed me off. She's like, oh my God, it was here in the car the whole time. And then it's like actually there.
Yes.
And they really emphasize that she needs it as a sense of comfort. In the original one, you're just like, okay, but you would at least say no to your daughter, right?
Because, okay. Yeah. See, that's what I was wondering, because I thought that eventually they were going to say to her daughter, like, hey, you're going to have to get over it.
Yeah.
I don't care, right? Because you would think as somebody as a parent, yes, like, you would understand, like, your children. I mean, I guess I wouldn't know because I don't have kids yet. But,
yeah.
But, of course, it's like you would think, like, I want for the safety of my kid to be protected and everything, that you would put their, like, it's weird, right? Because, like, you would put their emotional comfort to the side for now and put their physical safety first.
I have heard that movies like this, especially the original one and the way it ends, that if we were to talk about people being parents, like the type of movie that this is, I think would resonate with people like that are parents more than with us, because with us we're like thinking logically, but also the sense of we know this is a horror movie. We know that this is about the horrors of social interaction, which is kind of funny because a lot of people can relate to that. It's a very simple concept.
Many times, I don't know why I was thinking of when people are like, oh my God, we should hang out sometime. You're like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Never sees them again.
Genuinely, the scene where he's like, but you won't see me again. I was like,
dude, the many times I said that to you.
Yeah, oh yeah. But we see each other all the time. We record weekly.
It's like, I was like, no, hey, we should hang out sometime. You're like, yeah, we will.
You know what that reminded me of? No, well, my coworkers, for example, whenever they're like, yeah, let's hang out. I'm like, definitely. But
you'll never see me again.
No, my version of it, because I've called people out on this one. They're like, oh, I'm like, I recommend this movie or show. And then they're like, oh yeah, I'll write it on the list. I'm like, no, you won't. What list? Show me your list.
Dude, yes. Oh my God. And then it's like, you're not gonna remember.
So I know we complain about this, but I respect it more when they're like, "Can you just tell me? I'm not gonna watch it." I'm like, well, fuck me, but like, also...
I do agree when people say like, just spoil it. I'm not gonna watch it. Then I'm like, you know what? I respect the honesty.
I respect the honesty, but I'm also like
I don't like spoiling things either.
But also, if you Wikipedia the movie, fuck you. And
all right, well, I don't know about that.
With the positives here, let's really talk about what we liked about this movie.
All right, James McAvoy.
James McAvoy. Okay, why? What do you like about him in this?
I think he just plays such a great character of because it's like very similar to how he played in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Split.
Yeah.
And he just does a great job in just showcasing, I guess, like the emotional tendencies of of an insane character.
Yeah, because he has I think James McAvoy can do this role in his sleep, but the thing is, that's a testament to him as an actor. Mm-hmm. I really am excited for his career to project even more. I think he's incredible in X-Men. I think that like even with stupid shit like Dark Phoenix, that he is at least the best part of it. Him and Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Granted,
those
like
two
everything
were the greatest. Oh my God, I can't believe they actually got those two actors
to be in that.
Yeah,
and they love those characters. Yes. I'm pretty sure, but I think that he carries such a weight to him in his performances, and in Split, he's phenomenal. In really anything he's ever been in, I cannot tell you like a time where I didn't think James McAvoy was not the best part of it. And I think in this one, he's very clearly using his physical presence. I don't remember quite when he got so muscular, but he definitely is now. And I think it's like important for this character because there's a moment where he's walking really mad and he's like doing this and he's like lumbering towards them.
I think also just because they talk a lot about with whenever his character was interacting with the husband character as well.
Yeah.
And he was showcasing a lot of like masculinity, like
exactly
type qualities
okay.
that the character kept or like the husband kept lacking in.
Yeah.
And what the wife was possibly looking for as well. I know, it was those little subtle things like that they do a lot around the movie itself. Because I'm trying to think of some like little things that like he would just say to like trigger them.
Yeah, no, because he like really the scene in which they're arguing and you can see him looking through the window and you're like, you freak. Because I told you I had a really responsive crowd. You could it's kind of a really I would call it not a comedy. It is never full on funny. It's funny in the sense of putting you in really awkward environments, but ones that you can relate to, things that you fully understand as a person, are relatable in the sense of like, for a while, in the original, I think all of it's possible. But in this one, for a while, I'm like, this could very feasibly happen up until the third act where I'm like, it's a little bit more mainstream horror-esque for Blumhouse where I'm like, I mean, I don't know about any of this, but I do think that they actually did try and capture realism a little bit because like in the third act she tries to throw the Molotov thing but it falls down and they like accidentally set the wrong thing on fire. I like little details like that. But in the original, the masculinity part of it was kind of there. This is more of an Americanized version of that type of story. Okay. What I really like is I think I fully understand.
Do you think it was more like forward and like more blunt in the remake?
What I'm going to tell you is it was different. Okay. I think not just Americanized for the American audience of being more palatable or more acceptable. I actually think they changed some of the dynamics to tell this same story but about different cultural differences. Okay. Because in the original, I believe it was Dutch and German or Danish and German. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But
I think it was Danish and German.
Danish and German. And the entire point is there were two separate cultures, and they kept chalking it up to, well, I mean, they live differently than we do.
Yeah, and they mentioned the same thing in the remake.
Yeah, and this one, it's class difference. It's about people.
Well, it's not class difference. Yeah, it was still like cultural difference too.
And cultural difference
because I guess in James McAvoy's character lied about being a doctor and giving up his practice and selling and everything. But then that was also raising questions. She was like, why would someone who had so much of this
like have all of
this
and
like
stuff.
Live in like a farm-esque type of way?
No, and I love this idea that you're like, we don't even know how these characters came across this house. How did they ever get this? Yeah. It gives those two characters a kind of like, they did something bad, and it kind of lets your imagination run a little bit as to how this works. Or like in the original one, they kind of imply that the entire town is aware of what those two are doing. Oh, yeah. And it makes you feel... That entire original one, when it's over, it does make you feel sick. I do think that people, whenever they were saying that, whenever it was over, I was just kind of like, man, that was a rough sit at the end of it. But
was the same twist happening in both movies?
Sort of.
With the family, like them getting different families?
Yes. Okay. And this one shows it differently. They reveal it a little bit earlier on. Because in this one, here's what sucks is that since I know what's going on already, whenever they show the watch and the explanation, I already knew what the kid was trying to get across, and it made me want to know if you knew what that meant already.
Oh, and whenever the watch happened?
Yeah. No, okay.
I didn't.
Because it was one of those things where they were just like revealing it kind of.
Because what I got from the watch is like, is like the name under the watch like supposed to be like different people? Yeah. Okay. Then,
it is. Yes. Okay. Then because that's why he has the collection of it. Yeah. And I thought that was really clever, and I was like just sort of impressed by the ways in which they reveal it differently this time. Yeah. Because the kids have more agency in this one. They have a bit more of a subplot. They are actually actively doing things. In that original one, the thing that makes you frustrated with the parents and them being incompetent is that they don't really seem to actively look for like after their kid. Oh. And so at the beginning of it, James McAvoy repeats it this time. In the original, part of it, and I know a lot of this is going to be comparison, I just couldn't help it. I couldn't help but like go back and forth over and over. This one does stand on its own. I do recommend it just based off of its own footing. And with that one though, the entire point is that like it just feels like they took the kid, because the mainstay line, the iconic line that's in the original one, it makes you feel a really certain kind of way, and they do repeat it here, is when he says, because you let us. It is the point of the movie, because you're like, they kind of just let them in. They let them do whatever. And in this one, the context has changed a little bit, but that's because of something that I'll get into with the negatives. But with any more of your positives, what did you think of more of the horror elements of this movie?
I don't know. I think it was more creepy. Yeah. And I think the horror elements were just very subtle. Yeah. They built up very much until the very end. Yeah. And they just showcased a lot of like parenting, because a lot of it just shows like, oh, it's like maybe it's just like their parenting styles they showed. Yeah. That were very intense-esque, and it was just completely opposite of like how the other family treated one another. And I really thought that I guess overall, like as a horror film, I thought they did a really good job in just capturing how I guess like a different way of a serial killer.
Yeah, because
I guess, right? What did you think? It's like a slasher type of thing, or no? Well, I don't want to say slasher.
No, if we were trying to categorize this movie, it's in a weird spot, because like I want to say that
because it's also like psychological too. Yeah, because the way that like James McAvoy's like character's wife tries to like sleep with the other family's daughter too. Oh yeah, saying like, oh, it's just my daughter. Like it's just to be like that. It's like it's such a psychological like warfare type of thing too.
Here's one of the more interesting questions people ask whenever they see either of these now. At what point would you, like, let's say you do agree to go on this trip. At what point do you tap out? Like, at what point do you as a person, are you like, oh, fuck this, I'm going?
Oh, it was the moment that their own kid was sleeping in the other family's
a lot of people say it's that point where you're like, because in the original one, the other thing that it's kind of gross is the guy is like naked sleeping next to the girl, and at that point, because you understand where the parents are coming from, you're like, no, fuck no. And then, like,
exactly.
I don't know if mine is earlier than that, but that is a definitive one where you're like, why?
Why?
Yeah. Like, why did you insist on staying there? Yes. Yeah. But like I said, I can't help but even put myself in that situation, because I mean, it is asking you to. I have a friend, Alex, that says there's nothing.
I like Alex.
I do too. I love him. Says there's nothing scarier than the real world. And
I hear him saying that.
And so I do think that's actually the premise of this movie. There's nothing scarier than the idea of a social interaction getting worse and worse and worse, and you just cannot stop saying yes to everything.
You gotta learn to say no.
And that is the point of the original one, where you're like, just at least at a point, like, confront the idea of an argument with someone. Yeah. But
so Daniel's saying you need to argue with everyone you interact with.
Yeah, argue with everyone all the time. Yeah. We'll start arguing right now. I hated this movie.
Oh, okay.
That sucks, I'm just kidding. I thought it was really good. You hated this movie.
I did not.
But that's James McAvoy's entire thing, is where he's like, finally, honesty, even though they're still lying.
Yeah, at that point. Was so funny.
Yeah. But with that, I also want to.
I thought it was really funny whenever they threw Ant in the pond, like in the water.
You thought that was funny?
Because it was just it happened so fast.
No, you know what I thought was insane was his smile. He was like, he looked like in that trailer for Smile too. Oh. Like his face was so wide. He looked like beyond happy to do that, to see what they would do. But with something that you touched on earlier, I want to talk about the idea of masculinity that's portrayed in this movie. I read something with James McAvoy, and I don't want to give any credit to this dude or his name, but he's very famous, and he, how do you know who I'm talking about?
Andrew Tate?
Okay, well, you said his name. Okay, Andrew Tate, yes.
Why do I say his name?
Because I don't feel like giving that man publicity, but like, even though we don't really have a whole lot of people.
Okay. I don't really see his content anymore. So.
I don't either. He sucks. And James McAvoy, way back when, I don't know if he said that this was misinterpreted or taken out of context.
Yeah.
But he said that this character is adjacent to that kind of behavior and that line of thinking. And then recently on the red carpet, somebody was like, can you confirm if you based this character on Andrew Tate? And then he was like, I would never, ever base anything off of that man. He was like, but I do think that this character is a hyper masculine person that tries to invade people's sense of self pretty much. But
basically it's like projecting how like he feels onto others.
Yeah, because even the entire point of whenever he's like, oh, you guys give yourself a gold star for the type of activism you do with the vegetarian thing. When he said that, I was like,
damn. I was like, whoa.
But that does kind of lead me into,
or he tries to argue, like during that dinner scene when they try to argue and everything, where like she was talking about like the benefits of being vegetarian while he's like, well, there's no point because of this and that.
He's like, well, what about these things? What about these things? And
I was like, whoa.
Because in the original one as well, there like that line is repeated, but he just kind of says, well, what about the environment? And then that's kind of tossed off. That's why I think that this one has these more American viewpoints of like, well, we can talk about this because this is a more American idea to like say some of these things. And I thought that was great. I think that someone must have seen that movie and not just wanted to remake it, but was like, no, I have ideas here about how I want this to play out for a more American audience. And I want to ask you if you have any more positives here outside of James McAvoy and Ants. Yeah,
I like Ant.
Because
I like the wife.
Okay,
the wife of
Mackenzie Davis.
Yeah,
I
like her. I feel like she stood out more when it came to like the family of theirs than the husband did. Just because of, I don't know. It's just, it kind of sucks because it's like, it seemed like he was so close of having so many moments of like he stood up for his family when he could have. The only time I could think of is whenever he like jumped or he fell off the building to get the ladder.
But then he broke his leg.
I'm like, oh, I mean, he did that.
No, dude, it's the fact that he tried to do something heroic and then fucking broke his leg immediately.
It's like, okay.
Here's why I asked you if you have any more positives, because James McAvoy's portrayal of like masculinity wants me to lead into my negatives here.
Oh,
Scoot McNairy's character, Scoot McNairy's character in this movie is an incompetent dumbass, and I like genuinely any single time he had any amount of being able to do anything of worth, he doesn't do it. And later on, you were really distracting. And later on, even whenever he has something like of substance, well, he's like, well, I mean, the penis I found on her phone. And I'm like, dude, okay.
Come on, man.
But did you have any negatives here?
I didn't like how she cheated on him, I guess.
Cheating is bad,
Yeah, cheating is bad. Yeah. That was, I don't know. That was so much. I don't know. It. Were you came to positives or negatives?
Negatives now.
Oh, okay, damn. I guess like I got another positive.
Oh, do you have another positive?
I guess the other positive was just like I liked the little subtle things that they would mention.
Yeah.
Throughout the story when it came from the family.
Yeah.
With like Mackenzie and like what's the other actor's name?
Scoot. Yeah.
With their characters and like how they casually mention like what they have in their past and like what they're going through, and same thing with like James McAvoy's character and like his wife's character too. And I feel like whenever they were talking about their families, it felt true to what they were talking about, like how they were raised and all this and that. And so just hearing about that, like just very subtle.
That's another thing that
I really liked a lot.
They actually added from the original one.
Okay.
The original one was mostly just kind of like their characters in this environment and in this situation. And this one, they give the characters reason for the way that they act. Because the entire sort of evil of the original is we don't quite know what the two that invite them, why they do what they do.
Oh, okay.
Here, I feel like there is an explanation. And however, some people this movie, they get great reviews, but I've read that if anybody had any criticism, they wish that they would have kept that not explained. But for this version, it makes sense. I think that...
Wait, in the original, they didn't want to explained? Or
in the original is not explained.
Okay.
Like why they're even doing what they're doing, why these characters think this way. They just do it and the movie's over. Yeah. And
see, I guess I don't know, because I can see it both ways happening, but when they did explain it, it felt genuine and it felt real, and it kind of like sometimes when the best type of villains or like the antagonist is when you kind of like understand why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. Too, because the way that the wife was saying like, please don't kill, like, or the wife was like very hesitant in shooting the mother, shooting the daughter even. Yeah. Because it sounded like she genuinely wanted to have a daughter.
Because they did give a reason there for that. In that original one as well, the wife character isn't really given much of her own agency. We just know that she kind of goes along with the original like James McAvoy counterpart character. So we just don't really even understand where she's coming from. We just know that she's kind of there. Yeah. And in this one, this character is given her own things to be doing, her own things to be thinking, which I think is pretty clever. It's why I also feel like this remake gets to exist, because it has enough of its own ideas and its own setting and explanation for things that makes it its own unique story. But I want to ask you if you have any more positives before you get into your negative, or if that was just like...
Actually, I can't think of any positives.
Okay. What did you not like so much about this?
Do you hear the crickets?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I guess my only negatives I'd be thinking about was just the beginning, where it was just slow. Yeah. For a little bit, just before it actually picks up, where they actually go and meet the family. Because that's when, for me at least, that's when things start to actually pick up. Yeah.
I actually kind of quite liked the beginning of this movie. I don't know if it's because I knew that this movie would be a slow burn, just based off of the fact that I know the story. Yeah. And so
maybe that's what it was. Yeah. Because for me, it just felt slow.
Because I liked them in Italy, and I liked seeing the setup for why they end up liking these people so much. Because even...
I didn't really buy it as much, though, to be honest. No. Just because I can see... I guess because it felt so forced.
Yeah. Because we got to get them from one place to another.
Yeah. And so it was happening so fast. Because how long was this movie?
This movie's an hour 50 or an hour 55.
Oh, it felt like an hour and a half. Everything felt like it just happened so fast.
The original is an hour and a half, actually.
Oh shit! Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I think just like story wise, it just felt so short. Yeah. And like straight to the point. And I mean, I think that's like maybe like the only negative thing I could think about. But other than that, like, I don't really have much else.
I can tell you that my negative, really, actually, outside of just joking about Scoop McNairy's character, the entire point of this story, it's actually kind of interesting. I feel like it plays out like a fable, like the idea of learning a lesson through like a simple thing where somebody, like, let's say, you know, like, what is it, Big Bad Wolf, where the kid learns through lying that eventually it'll come back around to set you up for failure. But then here, I can imagine this being told as like a simple one-page story that's like, oh, we asked them to do this. They said okay. They said okay. They said okay. Up until the end where something tragic happens, and then it'll end with like the saying of like "speak no evil," and then it ends right there. Evil. Like I can literally see that, like reading that out on like a one-page story or something.
You said in the original the parents die, right?
Yes.
So how was that? I guess how was that ending?
Okay. The clear divide with the third act here, I told you some of it's beat for beat, but they do add some additional subplot stuff with the kids. Yeah. But the moment whenever the parents they do something, the dad realizes what's going on because he walks into this room and there's photos of all the families and stuff. He kills the aunt's character.
Wait, the dad?
The James McAvoy original character dad kills one. It's why people, if they say this movie's traumatic for them or it's hard to sit through, it's because of the child abuse that's in that original one. And
it was more prevalent?
Yeah, they just show it. They straight up see it. Like, okay. And it's very, very simple, but that's part of why it's so haunting, because you're just like, it's one of those types of horror movies where the act is just shown. It's like 2 seconds long, and you're like, and then it's just over and it moves on. And it's one of those things where since it's so shown to you and not really even expanded on, it's not like gory, it's not anything, it's just shown you and you move on. It's sort of more effective in a way because it feels like the movie's not like, oh, we're not gonna like build it up. It's just something that happened.
Yeah.
And with this one's more like, here it's sensationalized, it's here's everything, it's grand, it's a big third act. The entire third act difference here is that the parents kind of try to fight back, but not really in that original one. And then I don't know if you want me to tell you how they die, but if you don't know, then I don't actually want to spoil that.
No, I don't know.
Okay, then I won't tell you. But
whoa, but what if I told you want to tell me to spoil it? Like,
do you want me to?
No.
Okay.
Because I want to see it.
Yeah, I do highly recommend that original one as well. I do think it's great. And so is this one, actually. But no, so that the third act of this one is more like the idea of a regular third act horror movie where it's like, now we fight back, and then that's really the difference there. Pretty much it's why it's like 20 to 30 minutes longer is because this one feels like, it kind of reminded me of a video game where it's like A, good ending, B, bad ending. Like quite literally.
Wait, so who survives in the original then?
No one.
Damn.
Just the bad people, the two bad people. That's it.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's why you're kind of like, damn, I just watched like people go through hell and then it was over.
Yeah.
And so here, some people are going to get mad at this one changing it to be a happy ending. I like it though. I like it in the sense though that it's its own thing. It's not trying to go for the same ending, and I respect that.
Well, because wasn't in the movie the girl with the dragon tattoo?
I love that movie.
Said
yeah,
it was like the same exact way, correct?
Yeah.
So, and people were upset about it, even though it was like directed both well.
Yeah, but I've heard actually I need to watch that original one, but the David Fincher movie is incredible.
Yeah,
and that was a great movie, and I wish they would have made the other ones that they were supposed to make, but there was this whole like just never got off the ground, unfortunately. I don't know why David Fincher, he should be able to do whatever he wants, but that's a whole other thing.
Directors should be able to do whatever they want.
Let's talk about a negative that doesn't really have much to do with the movie itself, but marketing.
We hate marketing.
We kind of do. I think that this trailer showed way too much.
Wait. I don't know if we hate. I think we like marketing, right? Because we need to market.
Oh yeah.
We
like,
love
comment,
marketing.
and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
We love marketing, and I do fall for it every time. I see product placement of something, and then I want it really bad.
Oh yeah, I click on like in those games, whatever. It's like I forget what it's called.
Oh, you mean the ones where it's like sorry, I'm imagining all the ones where they're playing it terribly, or it's that girl, she smells really bad and they kick her out, and then she's
okay, I haven't got that ad. It was like this one army dude shooting, like, it's like blue, and he's like shooting the blue blocks.
No, but
and it's like this red one is shooting the red blocks.
And then he misses it or something. You're like, why'd you fucking miss it?
This game, why you miss it? It was right there.
And I was like, shouldn't that game be simple?
It's like, download this game for free.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, I guess I have to now.
And then you end up downloading, and you're like, why do I have 40 games on my phone? No, trailers. I think the trailers in this, before I like complain.
I already complained about it earlier. It just showed everything.
Way too much. I don't know how to market this movie without you like really kind of giving away what the third act's gonna be. Mm-hmm. But could you at least have tried? Like, I don't know.
They could have just built up and not shown anything what's gonna happen at the third act. But I don't know. I think because they don't really care. I think when it comes to studios themselves, they don't care about like the movie, like your experience with the movie. They just care about you being there at the theater.
But I care about my experience.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in general, because, like, well, are you going to show up or not?
I think we've complained about this more than ever this year because they keep doing this. It's gotten worse.
They've been doing this since Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Things are worse than ever. That's from The Dark Knight. But it's really aggravating, and it's starting to get to me quite a bit. It makes me want to just, like, show up late to things because I don't want to see trailers anymore.
Oh, I do that.
I know you do that, and I'm like, I gotta take a page out of your book and start doing that, but I also like getting there early to see like the pre-show stuff.
Oh, I like seeing the pre-show stuff for Alamo.
I guess I just got to get on my phone or something.
Oh yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Unless it's a trailer, I like to see it. I'm like, oh.
No, unless it's what if I saw the Furiosa one, I was like, yes, when that came out.
Any Marvel trailer? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, but overall, please stop doing that. And overall, Erwin.
Yes.
What did you think of this? Just wrap up, final thoughts. Tell me.
Overall, I'm kind of glad I got to see the remake first, and then I'll go back and look at the original. Yeah. Because the original one now intrigues me, especially now since I know how the ending goes. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm interested to see how how different it is. Mm. But in the remake itself, I thought it was really good. Yeah. And I highly recommend everyone else watching it. And I think if you stay till the end of the credits, you get a special surprise.
I don't think that's true. What are they gonna do?
Appreciate the people who made this movie?
He's gonna come back out of the. Oh yeah. Stay so you can respect all the filmmakers and everybody that worked on this. So, with James Watkins, Speak No Evil. I wanted to remember to say the director's name.
Wait, what else has he done?
James Watkins has also done Eden Lake. Oh, The Woman in Black. I like that movie.
Oh my! I forgot about that movie.
I like that movie quite a bit, and I haven't seen anything else here. And
yeah, I haven't seen any of that.
Overall, I think that this movie was quite good. I do regrettably think that I should have seen the original after the fact, because
throughout maybe there's some time.
Yeah, or some time in between. Somewhere between
time.
Somewhere between time. 70% of this I kept thinking, oh, they changed that. Oh, they changed that. And I was like, I cannot stand that I'm doing this to myself right now. And then the third act, I was like, oh no, it's a totally different movie. So overall though, I think this movie, genuinely, I'm glad it exists. I'm happy that this is really good. I can see a world in which this would have been a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
very easily. And then you'd be like, I could imagine all these characters.
Yeah, James McAvoy did a great job, but the movie itself was just terrible.
Not so good, yeah. Because that is what I thought this was going to be originally, admittedly, based off of that trailer. And
yeah, when trailers show so much like that, you was like, well, it's probably going to be bad.
No, and then the lines he repeats, I don't know if the turn with James McAvoy, I wish they wouldn't have shown in there either, where he's because you literally see his face whenever he's I'm evil now. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be way less...
I speak no evil.
I thought it was going to be way less subtle.
Yeah.
And it was subtle enough, though, in this one that I was I think they really did earn him fully showing his true self. But overall, thought this was great as well. And I do think it's worth your time. I think you are going to get frustrated with some of the character choices, though, like I did.
Oh, yeah, me too. I think that's everybody's experience, though. Yeah. With the movie. But they're why would you keep doing that?
But that's just because Scoot McNairy was dude, your wife is doing way more than you are, and
yeah, you gotta speak up, man. Yeah, she's vegetarian. Why did you let her eat that meat?
No, there's I think that's another thing that people say. We're dude, why didn't you just
say dude, she's vegetarian?
Yeah, you're did you forget or yeah? But obviously no, he definitely did that on purpose to see if they're how much can I get away with here? Yeah. But overall, Erwin, what is your score?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. I'm also giving this a 4 out of 5. Whoa. Will we ever disagree, I wonder? And Erwin, I'm going to go ahead and say that I recommend this movie.
No, I don't recommend this movie. I don't want this movie to make money.
I think it was made for cheap enough that it will.
Okay, then I recommend this movie.
That's the Blumhouse model. So, Erwin, do you know what's up next?
No.
We've got... The Substance. We're going to be a little bit late on this because he'll be somewhere else. And
somewhere between not here.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, subscribe, or subscribe, comment, like.
Please do all of those things.
One of those.
Somewhere between any of those things.
Somewhere between us.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.